There are ways to fight this. David Kennedy joins us now. He's with TrustedSec Founder. He is looking at a way to sort of turn this fight in our favor, to deliver the fight in the cyber arena. What do you mean exactly, David, by that?
Well, Neil, first, good to see you again. But, there's different ways of fighting terrorism. Obviously, the boots-on-ground mentality and blowing them up is what we've been traditionally focusing on. But what intelligence folks focus on is understanding ISIS's network, how they actually communicate, how they operate, the types of encryption they use, the devices, who's making purchases of oil. Those are all online transactions that you can grab a lot of intelligence from and understand what actually occurs so that you can start to disrupt those means of communication and start to disrupt those transactions so you can financially cripple them, technologically cripple them, as well as go after them and find their location. So it's a big, massive effort that you can do on the cyber front to actually go after these terrorists and start to shut them down.
All right. Now, the argument against doing so, you've heard this once or twice, is that in cyber attacking them, you risk cyber attacking a lot of folks, and it gets to be a cyber global war. What do you say?
Well, if you look at what ISIS is specifically doing, they're probably one of the more technologically savvy types of terrorist groups that we've seen, far more than Al-Qaeda, but they're still not very good. And actually the head person that was in charge of their hacking and all their offensive cyber capabilities that they had and the recruitments online was killed a few weeks ago by a U.S. bomb. So they actually lost a lot of that. But we can specifically target individuals within ISIS, track their modes of communication, what they're doing, how they're actually funding these types of campaigns, who they're communicating to in the United States or abroad, for U.S. allies, and hopefully find them and stop them in early stages. But we have to be very careful, because if we start to attack, the infrastructure for communications, they just move to different methods. And so we have to be very careful of shutting those types of communications down or shutting those types of methods down, because they know that we're onto them and we might lose some intelligence purposes. It's a very delicate balance that we have to focus on.
Well, you've just brought up my final question. That is concerning Apple CEO Tim Cook talking to 60 Minutes about this, the whole encryption issue, and that he's still very leery about it, that the government really has no role in doing so, nor would he change the company's policy of just, throwing that out to the government to help him out. Do you think that kind of approach hurts us in doing the very thing you advocated?
Well, it's two ways. What we want is privacy. We want the ability to be able to communicate in a secure method that is restricted from the government to be able to do that. At the same time, the bad guys can do that, but they're already doing that. They're already using modes of communication that are very difficult for, the FBI or for the NSA to actually go and intercept. For me, weakening encryption isn't a good policy or a way to strengthen what we can do from a collection purpose perspective. It actually sets us back quite a bit, because now you have other government agencies like China, Russia, Iran that may have the same type of capabilities. And if you know our government, they don't have a good track record of keeping things very secret. So if we start backdooring these types of things and weakening our encryption, that's a bad precedence that we're setting, and I'm very much against that.
David Kennedy, thank you. Very good seeing you.